Here's something I realized about myself. I always say, you know, whenever it is I'm having a conversation with somebody, I say a whole lot as a means of not coming across too intellectual about a particular subject. Up until recording this second episode in the series, I realized that, damn, that is why I say And it really did pull me back to look into myself and see all the other times I would have dimmed my light a bit or make myself smaller to make other people feel okay. And I'm appreciative of coming to this conclusion, like right now in this moment. Um, yeah, and I wanted to share that. And this is what the journey is about. And this is where you're going to get the content like raw. Because a lot of persons, they just see faces, they don't see souls. They form perceptions based on their experiences of you. And sadly, you take on those projections and those perceptions as as your reality. And it's like you're living, or they are living their life and yours because they have put, you and their expectations of you and just their perception of how they see you move into that box. And guilt and shame comes to the surface when you try to be, or when you start gravitating to who you really are. And when that guilt and shame comes to the surface, most times it's in association with just that dissonance between who you really are on the inside and what the world is asking you to be. And me picking up this thing, that's like real huge for me because I've said it a lot and it takes me back to being a child and hearing everybody complain. I was always like, there was parts of me that was always appreciative for the smallest things. I spent a lot of time reading in a library, and outside was it for me. And I remembered when the narrative started to change, when I felt like something was wrong with me because I was seeing the world from a different perspective. And little by little, I allowed parts of myself to just dim, to kind of absolve into itself and close that off from the world and just take on the programming of what I saw and what I heard. And I think this is like the perfect intro to what my guides want me to talk about today. Simply because I would have recorded before this and started to do this over, and I was said, let me listen back. And I heard that I was saying, so much. And then it came to me, why it is I say that? Because when I could go into depth, I just say, and close it off. Good pickup. But what we wanted to talk about today, my guides wanted me to touch base with you, especially if this type of content might be new to you, or if you're just beginning your journey, your spiritual awakening or your ascension journey, or if you're just looking to develop yourself some more and empower yourself some more. So I wanted to touch base just to discuss with you, or to let you know the source of my information, or what channeling really is about. Because growing up for me, when we heard channeling or speaking or interacting with the spirit world, it was seen as demonic or dark, and it, that was a no-no, definite no-no. And I think that, along with, just the programming of where it is, I was brought up, a lot of these gifts, or a lot of these impulses or voices that I would hear as guidance, that started to shut down. And just going through adulthood and living, and you know COVID happened, and I went into this whole world, this whole inner world, because I would have lost my job at the time, and everything just seemed to be happening one after the other, right? All together. But little did I know that was like the initiation, or the beginning stage of what is called a spiritual awakening. And I remember the first time I heard my guides, like really clearly. I was in tears, and their voices to me. So it's not something that I hear, right? It's a frequency that I connect to through my heart. And they the information that's presented to me is presented either in pictures, or a feeling, or a template, and then based on the vocabulary that I have already established as a foundation in, just me, um, I can use that to explain or express what is being, said. And it's just a frequency. So my guys are saying no, just as how you would get these negative psychic attacks, or you would just hear negative stuff and people would say, oh, you're depressed or you have anxiety. It's just a frequency that you're aligned to, in which you have access to that information. So the more that you go into yourself and start addressing a lot of the trauma that you would have gone through, through childhood, through past lives, which we would get to as well. Unless you haven't gone in to do that, you wouldn't hear your guides as louder, because you're living in your mind, and you connect to your guides through your heart space, right? So as you go into the healing journey, you wake up a bit, not a bit, you wake up, you really do wake up to the mark you're making in the world, how your actions would, imprint on somebody, how somebody else has been affecting you, whether it's energetically or whether it is through just situations. You wake up to your patterns and the patterns of others as well. And that journey in itself, just saying yes to it and going into places that sometimes you really don't want to, and those are experiences that you would have shut off yourself from feeling or from processing. And as you shut off yourself from feeling and processing that, sometimes you think, oh, it's in the back of my mind, it doesn't exist, but your body is living through it every single day on a nervous system level, right? Because that energy that was associated with it was a mix of so many different so many different hormones, a lot of it being cortisol, and these hormones that makes us feel not too good, high amounts of it, right? So, and that is also, sorry, a source of the imbalance hormones that a lot of women deal with from time to time. Right. So channeling is just connecting to a frequency through your heart space. And based on the work that you would have been doing, it means that the channel is clearer. It means that you have access to either hear some people based on what you're here to do, based on your ancestral lineage, whatever gifts that is there to be turned on would be turned on when you start taking back a lot of your power and insourcing your life force as opposed to outsourcing it, right? Why do I say right? We'll figure that one out. So I wanted to share that little tidbit with you. Also, to let you know that the whole series of, checking into, I said, again, the whole series, and guys, this is what it's about, right? Because when you are reprogramming something, and you get to the belief, so you're reprogramming a habit, you have to get to the belief, which we just got into at the beginning of this video. As a result of that, how the body responds, well, for me, my body responds to rituals and to making something out of any. What I am tasked here with is to, probably after this, sit with probably a self-love or a self-worth meditation and pull back the energy that's associated with just this simple phrase of and that belief, and pull that back into me. The fact that I am making a ritual or a routine out of this, because I'm not just going to do it once, right? I'm going to do it a few times, maybe over a month, right? And it doesn't have to be anything too extensive. It could simply be an affirmation that I feel within my body after, I've done my usual meditations and I'm already there in that place of openness, just holding on to that part of me that feels or felt that she needed to dim or light or dumb down a little bit to make everybody feel okay, or to not stand out. I think that's why I've been labeled an introvert as well. I just shut off. Right? So I wanted to just share this bit with you. The next episode that's coming is going to be amazing. The thing is, my guides just come through. Once we're seated here, that's when I know what we're talking about. They come through, and the entire session is guided, and I look forward to sharing that with you. This was very impromptu. This was not what I was going to do today, but apparently it's what I need to do today. Okay, this is new. This is a growth curve, a learning curve, right? This morning I was putting these things together, and I'm telling my son, I'm doing the job of a creative director, producer. I am the opening and the finishing act. This is amazing. So now you have the background of channeling. This is what this video was about, the background of channeling, what channeling really is. As you open up yourself to these higher frequencies, you start opening up yourself to your soul mission and your soul purpose, and your spiritual gifts comes online, right? And when your spiritual gifts comes online, whatever spiritual forces or whatever energy that exists that can contribute, and you're open to collaborating with, the option is always there. Just as you attach yourself to a frequency to tell yourself that you're not good enough, because it's not you telling yourself that, it's a frequency that's been programmed. You're not good enough, this isn't the time, I'm going to delete this video again because it's not perfect. Those negative stuff that you tell yourself, that doesn't really help you, and it just make you feel sick on the inside, because you're releasing all of these hormones in large amounts, and before you know it, you sweating, right? And you feel like shit, and you actually believe you are shit. That's how powerful our minds are, right? That's how powerful you are. Happy weekend, and take care.